Our story today is from two brothers who didn't speak to each other for 8 years. The older brother, Simon, was 8 years older than Ethan, and because of that age gap, he felt that it was his duty to guide his younger brother and teach him things about life. Things that Ethan should have learned from their father. Simon thought he was doing the right thing by being a big brother, but he did it in the wrong way. He always gave orders instead of asking nicely. He always tried to impose his opinions on Ethan as rules. He wanted to be an authority rather than a helpful sibling. Their parents were worried about this. They saw that their sons weren't close at all. They had completely different tastes. They didn't share anything together. They didn't even spend time together as a family. It saddened their parents, so they invited both of them for a serious talk. "You are brothers," their mother said. "You should help each other. You should make each other happy. There's nothing more important than your brotherhood." But Simon argued with her. "We can't help each other if he doesn't listen to me. He's not even interested in what I have to say." Their mother was heartbroken to hear that. Then she turned to Ethan. "And you, why don't you listen to your brother? Don't you think he wants the best for you?" "I know that," Ethan admitted, "but I also think that he has the worst way of showing it. Sometimes I feel like he looks down on me because I'm younger." "I don't like that," their mother sighed. She knew that there was nothing else she could do. All she could do was hope that one day they would understand the importance of having each other. Unfortunately, that day didn't come during their childhood. It didn't come during their teenage years. It only came when they became adults. When they were 22 and 30, they got into a huge fight. They argued about their relationship. They argued about everything. And before they knew it, they had ruined their bond forever. They stopped talking to each other. They avoided each other. They didn't even try to see each other again. But after 8 years, something changed within Simon. He was still the same caring brother that Ethan remembered. He had just matured. He understood that he had been a fool to fight with his own brother. He realized that their bond was far more important than his ego. So he wrote a letter to Ethan. It wasn't a long letter. It wasn't a letter full of excuses or justifications. It was simple, it was honest, and most importantly, it was sincere. He started off by apologizing for how he treated Ethan. He apologized for not being the best brother that he could have been. He admitted that he was proud of everything that Ethan had accomplished over the past 8 years, that he believed in his little brother, and that he loved him. Ethan was surprised to receive that letter. It was totally unexpected. In fact, he thought that Simon had moved on without him. So he replied with a letter, too. He apologized for being stubborn. He admitted that he had acted immaturely and that he missed his brother. That first letter that Simon wrote to Ethan rebuilt the bridge that had been broken for so long. Now they talked every week. They helped each other with their problems. They encouraged each other to follow their dreams. And they made plans to meet up soon. Today, Simon and Ethan's story serves as a reminder that we should never let our ego ruin the relationships that matter the most. Our ego is that part of us that feels the need to be superior to others. That part of us that always has to be right, no matter what. It makes us think that we are better than those around us. It leads us to look down on others. It encourages us to criticize them and to blame them for our mistakes. It pushes us to ignore our responsibilities. It causes us to act recklessly. It leads us to prioritize our achievements over others' feelings. It tells us that someone else must be inferior to us. It convinces us that others deserve our anger. Most of the time, we don't realize how much damage our ego is causing until it's too late. Most of the time, we only realize how important something is when we have lost it. There are many stories in the Bible about the dangers of ego. Jesus taught people to humble themselves and warned them against thinking too highly of themselves. He told the story of a man who went to a party wearing fine clothes and sat down at the place of honor. He noticed that another man who was more important than him had taken his seat. Luke 14:11 says, he told the man who had invited him, "Why have you put me in this place? Why have I had to sit here dressed in fine clothes when you have seated me in this place of honor?" This man was so concerned with his status and so proud of his own importance that he was willing to ruin the entire party, just to prove that he was more important than the other man. But Jesus teaches us that we shouldn't be like this man. We should humble ourselves and remember that we are all equal in God's eyes. Another story that Jesus told was the story of the Pharisee and the tax collector. Both of them entered the temple to pray, but the Pharisee stood in the court and prayed, saying, "God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all my income." But the tax collector stood far off and would not even lift up his eyes to heaven. He beat his breast and said, "God, be merciful to me, a sinner." Jesus said that the tax collector, not the Pharisee, went home justified before God. Why? Because the tax collector had humbled himself. He knew that he was a sinner and that he needed God's mercy. The Pharisee, on the other hand, was full of pride. He thought that he was better than everyone else and that he didn't need God's mercy. Through these stories and many others, Jesus teaches us to be humble, to put others before ourselves, and to seek God's mercy instead of judging others. Now I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever let your ego get the best of you? Have you ever said or done something that you regretted later? If yes, please share your story in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who is going through the same situation. Also, if you found this story helpful, please send it to someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for watching. Take care, and see you next time.